Let's look at how to find the slope and y-intercept of a line given on a coordinate plane here. So what the slope is it's the steepness of a line. So to find that, we need to find the change in y. Oops, my eye is moving around. Change in y over the change in x. So we can pick 2 points and look at the change in our y's and the change in our x's. Okay, we can also write it as y sub 2 minus y sub 1, which is just like 0.2 and 0.1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So let's start by just selecting a couple points here. So I'll go ahead and just select this point here is 0, 2, and then we'll go ahead and select this point here, which is 2, 0. Alright, so we'll label this point 1 and this one point 2. So we're going to look for the y value in point 1, so the y coordinate in the y coordinate in point 2 is the 0, because this one's point 2, so we have 0 minus, and then the y in point 1 is 2, over, okay, now the x in point 2, that's going to be 2, so we have 2 minus 0. Okay, just go ahead and subtract those. 0 minus 2 is negative 2, and 2 minus 0 is 2. All right, we can go ahead and simplify that to negative 1. So the slope is negative 1. Slope equals negative 1. All right, so you can also check that by starting at the line and going, we should be able to go down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Because negative 1 is essentially the same as negative 1 over 1. Okay, so that is right. When our line is moving downward, we know the slope is going to be negative. If the line is going uphill, then the slope would be positive. Okay, so that's our slope. Now, how do we find the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is simply where the line crosses the y-axis. So this is our y-axis. So we're looking at where does that line cross the y-axis. The horizontal axis is the x-axis. Okay, so this line, this particular line crosses at 2. So our y-intercept is 2. All right, so we just found our 2 pieces that we were asked here. We found the slope, and we found our y-intercept. All right, why don't we look at one more of these? All right, so we're given another line, and we're asked to find the slope and the y-intercept again. So to find the slope, I'm going to go ahead and pick and select 2 points. They can be any point. So let's go ahead and I'll take this one here. I always take the ones that are right where the grids cross because I know that that is going to be an accurate one. I'm not going to try to guess with like a fraction or decimal. So this is negative We'll call that point 1. And then point 2, we'll go ahead and select this point right here. And that's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to pick a color that stands out a little bit more. Okay, so this point right here is at -3, 3. And we'll call this point 2. So remember, the change in y over the change in x is how we find the slope. The slope equals the change in y over the change in x. So our y coordinate for point 2 is 3. So we have 3 minus 0. Okay, this is the point for the y for point 1 was 0 over the point 2, the x was -3 minus a -8. Alright, so 3 minus 0 is 3. And then this, remember, subtracting a negative is the same as just adding, so we're going to change it to addition. -3 plus 8 is 5. Okay, so our slope is 3/5. And you always want to leave slope in fraction form and just make sure that it is reduced. Okay, we don't want to make this a decimal, we always want to leave it as a fraction. So we could start anywhere on our line, and let's go ahead and do that just so we can double check. So let's say we're going to start here, and I'm going to go up 3 and over 5. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I do in fact end up there. Okay, so then again 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again I ended up there. Okay, so if you have the slope of a line, you could, once you found one point, you could go ahead and draw that line. Okay, excellent. So let's go ahead and go back to the last piece, which is finding the y-intercept. Okay, so our y-intercept, that is where the line crosses the y-axis. Remember, this is the y-axis here. Okay, the y goes up and down. So the y-intercept for this particular line is going to be right here, which is, if you start at the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our y-intercept is 5. All right, I appreciate you watching and hope you have a wonderful day.